for joining the talk. And so I think it's going to be like 30 minutes long. So feel free to ask any question, like the way you prefer, either by Discord, either by posting a message on YouTube, or or the way you prefer. So yeah, okay. So first of all, like Ruasal works for Faro 5, Faro 6, and Visualworks. So to load Ruasal, you can do it like via the catalog. So if you just type Ruasal 2, and here you have it. You can just install it. And also you can do it like via the Gopher invocation. Then that should load. And on Syncom Smalltalk, then you can just load it via the public Syncom store. And so once Ruasal is loaded, then you know that you have Ruasal because in the world menu you should have an entry here. You can click here and you see things. And also you should have here plenty of examples. If you click here, then you can have like plenty of examples. So if you see that, then it means that everything is working correctly. Okay, so the talk, that will be like essentially 4 parts. The first one, general introduction of Ruasal. And the second one will be like the latest news of Ruasal, like what we've been working on. And the third part will be about some applications that we made around Ruasal. And the last part will be about like the ongoing effort and future work. So yeah, just want to make sure that everything is okay. Is everything okay? I'm writing now on Discord. So people say that the sound is not that strong, so I've increased it. So is that okay now? Yeah, so everything is okay? Hi, just wondering, like, is everything is okay? Like, do people hear me correctly? I can continue. Okay, so the video and the voice are both good, so I continue. There is Philip who tell me that, saying me that there's something wrong on the. Okay. So I will start with some very, very simple examples. So once Ruasal is loaded, then you can just create here a view and add an element to it. And here you can click here. So, and you have an ellipse. So you can zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, like here, resize it. And okay, so here I have like one ellipse. So you can add many ellipses, you can say like do 1 to 100. So here I will have 100 ellipses. I'm doing that. You see that there is not much differences because all the ellipses are on the same place. So here I need to have a layout. I can have a layout on all the elements of the view. And boom, here I have like all my ellipses. I can have like plenty of ellipses, or I can increase that to even more. And okay, and I can change the shape of each ellipses. So here I can have shape, and here I will define shape equal shape new. So this is the same thing now. And here I can say the size, I want it like a very simple thing. So what happens here is that I created a shape, and a shape is like a factory of elements. So what I have to add in a view are elements, and elements are the visual things that I can see. And a shape is a factory of elements. What I'm doing here on that line, I'm creating a shape for which the size changes according to the object that is behind each element. An element in a Russell is a wrapper to an object, like could be any object. In that case, this is a number. Later on, I will change that to files or to classes, to anything. And then I define the message size, with a block that is executed on each numbers, and this gives the size of the element. So I can change here like the layout. There are plenty of layouts here. I can have a flow, boom. I can have I can have a pop-up, so I can do like rt pop-up. I will change that to 100 only. And then if I put here, this is the element. So here I see that the small one here are the the very little numbers here, and the big one are the largest numbers. Okay, I see that some people are okay. Okay. Okay, so in Rasa, like, so here this is a very simple example that shows you like how to create elements and how to add them. So at that stage, Rasa is not very different than from other graphical libraries such as D3, for example, or Protoviz. So basically, I can create like a graphical object and add them in a view. So one difference there is between Rasa and some other graphical libraries is, for example, the fact that each element is a wrapper to an object. And then here I can provide a block. For example, here it could be like, I can provide here a metric. In that case, this is, or I can here change that. So here, the fact that I can here provide blocks that define the shape, or this is something which is like particular to Rasal. So one interesting aspect of Rasal is not really like the core of Rasal, but more like the thing that I built on top of Rasal, which are the builders. So a builder is essentially like a configurable visualization. So there are several builders that are that exist. So online you can see like some documentation. For example, here this is like a chapter of the Agile Visualization book, which is exactly about builder, how to build like reusable visualizations. So here, like I will demonstrate one builder, which is Mondrian. Mondrian, this is like probably the most popular visualization builder in Rasal. So here I will write the same example than before. So before we had like a layout, a grid, And so here we had some shape, which has circle, and the size was, you know, the element itself. So here, like, we see that in like 4 or 5 lines of code, we have the equivalent of the 8 lines of code we had before. So the thing is, like, Mondrian, this is like a high-level API to build expressive visualization. So here we will continue a bit with the example of numbers. So now we'll add edges. So here we'll connect edges, you know, so here we a number, and then we have a number divided by 2. So each number will be connected to the number divided by 2. So 100 is connected to 50. So here I can change the layout. Here I can have 3, boom. You know, I can have cluster. I can have flow. You know, a Sugiyama also. Sugiyama. Tuk. So there are many layouts in Wasal. And you know, also we can play with the color. So here we can say colors, you know, color red. Also can have transparent colors. This is useful, for example, when the nodes overlap, you know, as this is the case here. And also, like, one interesting thing that there is in Wasal is the normalizer. So the normalizer make you like use some, you know, makes the size of the color of each element compares to the other one. Because here, like, each, for example, like this one, the 87, the size of the circle is 87 unit. Could be translated into pixels. But often, like, you want to normalize that thing, and you want to normalize saying that the biggest elements should have a size of, let's say, 100, and the smallest one maybe a size of 20. So there is a way to normalize all this. So there are several ways to normalize that. So here I will remove the size, and now here I will add the normalizer. Normalizer, and here I have normalize size, and here yourself. So here, like, the maximum size I think is 30. So here I can say max 30, and you know, or 50. Maybe I want to have the minimum of 10. Oops, no, yeah. So this is, like, very useful if you want, like, to create meaningful comparison between elements. And okay, so far, like, we've been using numbers to play with. So let's use something like which is a bit more interesting, which are files. So here I will take that example here. Maybe not this one here. So here this is like a folder that points to the SDL library, source code library. So I'm just checking that whether there are some questions. Okay, so the fonts has to be increased. That is a good thing. How to increase the fonts? But apparently, like, there is no. Yeah, so I think you need to switch to the 1080 quality. Okay, so instead of visualizing numbers, I will visualize some files. So I will remove that, you know, that grid. Okay. So now here, each circle here is not a number anymore, but a file. So it means that I can click on it, and boom, here I see, yeah, I see the file. You know, and thanks to the GT inspector, then I have a smooth, you know, flow between the different things that are represented. So here, like, I can have, you know, the size of the circle, which is the size of the element. I have that. Now I can change the layout to flow. Now you see that the biggest one is SDL malloc, SDL things. You know, maybe like I can change. So I say like the color here is red, or I can say like if a file base name, I think like answer base name, right? Self base name, yeah. Base names. So I can say that if a file contains the word test in its name, then I will paint that in, let's say, in blue, in green. Fill color, color green. Oh, apparently there is not, but no, there is none. Yeah, video maybe. Yeah, so here, like, I see all the files that have the word video in the name. For example, this one is SDL, SVGA, video. And yeah, and then I can add some edges. So here I can add edges. So here I can say edges. So so here, like in each circle here is a file or a directory that belongs to that path here. So here I can say connect to parent. From parent. Or edges connects. So what is wrong? Edges connect from parent, and why it doesn't work? It should have worked. I don't know, because maybe there is no, like, or maybe like, let's paint is directory. Okay, because here there is no directory here, which is why there is no link to parent. But so here I have also another script that shows a different layout, which is the cluster layout. Also I can have like the tree layout. Also I can have like the radial one, which is a bit similar than the cluster, but here I have some outer layers. And yeah, so here, like, the common example that I like to do very much in demos are visualizing code. So here I would give some classes here. The classes here will be, you know, maybe the collection library with all subclasses. So here I will connect that to superclass, a number of methods here. So here, like, each circle now here is a class. For example, here this one is a class string. I can click on that class string, and here I can see the definition. You see? This one is XML ordered list. This one is collection itself. And then there are several ways that I can play with that. For example, I can, I can I can, for example, here have the normalized colors, so number of lines of code. Maybe I want to move the circle in front of the edges, so here I would say move behind. And so here we see that there is a class string. The class string is large, much larger than the other one. It means this is the class that has the most methods, most number of methods, because this is the largest one. And we see that the class is red. It means that this is also the class that has the most lines of code. So we can visualize like many things. You can visualize maybe like Russell itself in Russell. So this is what I'm doing here. No, so maybe here 3 is more adequate. So the largest one is RT Russell examples, and here we can have cluster. So here we can have, so here we have like the ellipses, but maybe you can have a box, where we just want to remove that. Yeah, with number of variables, 8 number of methods, and here we can have maybe like a 3. So this gives like an impression of what the class looks like. So each here's box is a class, and this is like a very nice way to summarize what the class is about. For example, at that class here, this is the class that has many methods, many variables, because it's much larger. And yeah, so Rasa, like, it is like pretty sophisticated. Like Mondrian is pretty sophisticated, so there is many ways you can use, you can configure it. For example, like one thing we recently added is for the edges. So for example, this one here, this is some Bezier lines, slightly curved, and if you have like many connection between elements, and there is a slight shift that also you can configure, and here there is a way to have this the arrow. So there are also several arrows that one can use, and you see like the edges jumpies to not be in front of the node itself. So this is one example, but there are several examples where you can use like all kind of Bezier with different control points. So yeah, so here this is just a small examples, which is rather sophisticated. So is there any question about Mondrian now? I'm checking whether there are some questions. Yeah, I see that still some people have some problem with the. Yeah, so I'm joining now here the Tech Talk channel. Hi, people hear me now? I'm using the Discord. Like, is there any question? Like, is there anything you want me like to discuss a bit more, or? I see people are typing. Else, I plan to move to Grapher. So to talk about Grapher, how to draw charts, how to draw curves. So this is what I'm talking about now. This is what I will talk about now. So let's remove that thing here. So here I can have, so another interesting builder is the Grapher. So in Grapher here, I can add data. And data, I can give some values as a point, and here I can say, 1 to 100. And I would like the metric on the y axis to have or maybe here 10. So here I have like the 10 points. And I can have, like instead of having numbers here, I can have, let's say, collection with all subclasses. And in that case, on the y, I might have, for example, a number of methods. Or maybe I can, sort them sorted as tuk, and I put that here. You see that. If I want, I can also add connect color and color blue. And maybe here I can have like no dot. Tuk. So, but let's remove this connection. Tuk. Also, I can have, dsx, I can have like number of lines of code. And maybe I can have like a shape, dot shape, color red. And let's make that translucent. So you see that here there is a clear correlation between the number of lines of code and the number of methods. So more a class has some lines of code and more method it has. So there are several ways you can configure number of methods. I can add titles to the and let's see that maybe with the variables, number of variables and variables. So interesting to see that there is no really correlation between the number of variables and the number of lines of code. So more class has some variables, but it doesn't mean anything regarding oops, I was wrong here. So it doesn't mean anything regarding the number of, there is no correlation between the two. Oh yeah, again, maybe like something I can add. So let's go back. Oops. No. Why here? Number of lines of code. Also, we can have like maybe some bars. Instead of here bar shape. Tuk. I can have that. What else? So there are like plenty of examples here. So you can go on the Grapher. So here there is several ways to have bar charts. So for example here you can have like some color for the bars that are above the zero line, or the color for different values. As said here, and you can have the thing. Combining the two. You can also like having labels for the for the bars here. Also, you can give a colors when the mouse is put above. So this is done like with interaction highlight, group view. So yeah, so here you can have like a interesting pop-up that shows you like some elements regarding to a different bar. And also like there is a lot of decoration you can add. For example, here this is a graph with some values here. There are 4 values. But here you can add a decoration. A decoration, this is a hierarchy that contains some additional things on the views. For example, like this one here, this is the average decorator that when you add it, then it gives you like the average. You can also have the standard, the mean and the standard deviation. So this is what here it does, you know, it shows you. Yeah, you can also have a legend. So this is something that, yeah, you can also have a legend. This is something like Peter has been working on. Yeah, so but after that, I would say a lot of thanks, because this is not just my work. This is the work of the whole, you know, group of, you know, very smart people. So yeah, so this is something like a visualization I built for a paper, you know, the Likert scale. So here you have the result, you know, whether the people agree, they do not agree, they are neutral, and then you can visualize that. You know, also you have a different decorator for the lines, guiding lines. So this is done like that way. Yeah, you can have like the horizontal. No, if I, you know, just if I remove that one here, I can click here. And then, you know, I remove I can add that one back, and I click here, they are back. Amazing, isn't it? Also, there are a lot of, yeah, so, okay, there is, you know, a whole kind of scatter plots than one can imagine. For example, like this one here is interesting. This is one that uses that visualize Russell. So the 8 here, this is yeah. So horizontally here, this is the time, and vertically this is the lines of code. So each dot here is a class, is a method, and method with plenty of lines of code, you know, that appear at the top. And here you see like this is the age of the so each method has a timestamp, and then we represent the timestamp here. So this one here, for example, this is the season. Oh, maybe here I can change the color. The color should be. So here this is the season that shows that, you know, if the ground is shaking, then if it's shaking like strong, it's really, really strong, you know, between that range here, you see that it's likely that the break in the ground, you know, underneath happens deeply. So also there are a lot of yeah, so I think like so here there is also a lot of different visualization here. Oh, what happens here? Oh, something weird. Yeah. So here this is a different kind of graph. This is double bar, you know. So here this is also a way to add some elements in a bar. So that could be interesting in some cases. So this one we do use some random generation, I think, of values. Okay, so I think this is, I'm good for Grapher. So now I would like to show a couple of applications we built with Russell. So here this is one, for example, that we've been recently working on, which is a scatter plot matrix. The scatter plot matrix here takes as input some object. In that case, those are the classes. And then here I have some matrix. The matrix is the number of lines of code, the number of methods, the number of variables. And then here you see like you have a nice matrix of scatter plot. And for example, here, like those are all the classes for you have the lines of code. You have the lines of code here, and then here you have the number of methods. You can also select some classes here, and you can drag and drop that. You can do, oops. You can do that. Maybe I will show an example that we posted recently to the script of the day. And yeah, so I think here this is a data set that we get from somewhere on the net, where each dot here is a data point from the size of some flowers. It has something to do with flowers, iris flowers. And again, you can have these nice interactions. And thanks to what Peter has been doing, you can do this resize here. So this is not something which is particular to the to the scatter plot, but this is, you can have this elastic box a bit everywhere. Yeah, so I think this is for the scatter plot matrix. Also, something that we are using a lot is the test coverage tools. So, oops. So we build Apao. Apao, this is a test coverage tool. So you can load Apao via the catalog browser. So here you can do spy2, and here you have. So if you load that, then you will have Apao, which is a test coverage tool. So here you have Apao, and then you can run it, let's say, on, you can run the test coverage of Trashel, which is the underneath API used by Russell. So each here class is, each class is a big box. Inside you have the methods, and we use the Sugiyama and to lay out the methods. And here you have the link between method that shows the self-call between the thing. So you see that visualization actually is pretty sophisticated. For example, here, if I put the mouse above, then you see that the name here gets highlighted. So this is interesting in that case, for example, where you have plenty of names overlapping, but then, you can, the names can appear just by moving the mouse without changing the visualization that much. So here, each class is a big box. Inside you have the red boxes are methods that are not covered, and here methods that are covered. And here you have, like in blue, the methods that are abstract. And here you have all the tests. And you can search for something, click clear, and you can search for then you can search for particular object here. And here you have the summary that shows that there is 182 tests in Trashel, and all of them are green, and there is a coverage of 37%. So yeah, also, like, this is in the class Apao. This is in the class Apao. So no, not the menu. Apao tout. So here there are several examples here. So there is an example where you can actually also see the coverage of an execution. For example, if I do profile, and let's say here, yes. So here I have a piece of code, B nodes 1 to 100, B layout grid, B. Okay, I have a very simple piece of code here. I can profile that. So here I need to add build in package named ROASAL2. Oh, impact. There's something wrong with the name. There is not profile in package named. So what it is? So here, on, on package. I can do that. So now here is currently instrumenting the Russell2 package, executing that piece of code here and returning the coverage. So you see that here all these methods that are not read are the methods that are covered, that are executed directly or indirectly by this piece of code here. So the test coverage tool, Apao, doesn't limit itself to running the test. It could also be like any arbitrary piece of code. You can also have that, I think, on a class profile on classes on class named. So in that case here I can have Tuk and RG Mondrian. Tuk is not found in system dictionary. What is wrong? Okay, anyway. Class named, so here I should maybe do that. Tuk. Okay, so just running the code here shows the, the method that I currently executed by that piece of code here. So you see that just that piece of code here involved like almost 46% of the methods of Mondrian. And also like the final example here is using, again with code profiling. So here this is a simple example that shows the map. So this is an example with Russell, I have a SVG map description. And if I want like to see the memory consumption, so this is a small example that shows the world map, but the many objects are created for that example. So here we have built a profiler that shows where objects get instantiated. So this is a visualization that I get from executing that script here, where here like each method is a big class here. So you see that the main example world population. So if I click here, I think so I will put that bigger. So here this is the method's example world population, and you see that the method here executes. So here I have map builder. So I will put that. So here like I see that inside that method box here, I see many squares, color squares. Each square here, each box is a class instantiated by that method. So the method, the class could be instantiated directly or indirectly. So here I see like map builder that has a border here. It means that that class here is instantiated directly by the method, and this happens here because I have that. And yeah, so this is a simple example that shows where classes get instantiated. So you see that, for example, like the method here, curve, compute curves. This is that method here that instantiates many strings and many points. And that one also right. Compute rectangle. The simple method doesn't look that harmful, but it creates 19,000 instances of the class point. So yeah, so this is a simple example that shows how we can combine visualization and profiling information. Okay, so we are slowly reaching the end of this tech talk. So one closing thing is about the future of Russell. So Russell is going like we do have users also who are sponsoring our effort, and so yeah, so Russell is very active, is moving quickly. So one way we are moving to is a new layer on top of Russell, which is called Data Studio. So as I've shown you, I've shown you many scripts, and we have seen that people have have struggled learning all the APIs. So Data Studio is an API, no, is a graphical environment for which you can build visualization without knowing the script. For example, here I just created like added nodes, and each node is a subclass of collections here. I can add edges here. I can add edges, subclasses. And now here I can have the group layout. I can have here tree. Or I can have here like the, yeah, you know, on the force. And you can also change the size. I want that the size is the number of methods here. So you see here string, as we have seen that before, you know, string is the biggest one, and compile also this is, you know, a class that has plenty of methods here. And we can, you know, create group, and here this is a block that is matched on each classes here. So this is all the yellow boxes here are boxes that are classes that have the words array in it. I can maybe move them on the, you know, on the right. Maybe I can also add set it group none, and can have some edges dependent classes here. And so this is like graphical ways to build visualizations. And so like a very, you know, a very last example is one thing we did for to analyze Python code here. So this is AstroPy. AstroPy, this is a very famous framework in Python to visualize stars. And so here this is a visualization of the Python code. So this is like connected to the Moose effort, in which you know, to analyze, to use Russell to visualize softwares. So, and again, this is, you know, so here I can dependency between the files. I can have also, you know, the force took. So this one should be, you know, it's computing the layout. And here each box is a Python file, and an edge, this is an import between the Python file. And yeah, and voila. So this last example here conclude the TED Talk. So now I will move to the Discord channel and to have more interaction with you guys. Oh yeah, so something else. Before I do that, something so here this is the Discord channel, as you can see. And we do have that channel that contains many examples. So, you know, this one here, this one is cool. A cool example where here I can, you know, I can took. This is a kind of inspector here. You know, so here I have elements, you know, I can, this is a kind of inspector, I can navigate between the elements. Yeah, this is a visual inspector that shows the connection between the object. But yeah, so there are plenty of examples here, you know, that you can. Also, we do have support for the black, for the dark theme. So just to conclude here, once more, I just want to thank like many people. I mean, this is the result of a large community, and I really would like to thank people and the company that are sponsoring this effort. So yeah, without you guys, we won't be able to make it at all. So thank you very much. Okay. Oh yeah, so I see that some people are asking like to export. Exporting is pretty easy. So you click here and you export to HTML. So click here and you can give it a name and, you know, cool pic. click here, and then you go here, work. Oops. And then here I have cool pick, double click here, and pa. And you know, you also have the tooltip here, you know. You can drag and drop. Now, you know, we spend some time on making that things work smoothly. Hey, so now I can hear you. So if you have like any questions, if you want that I go deeper in some of aspect of it, then just let me know. Okay, so I see that Thibaut has a question like if we have an option to arrange text boxes such as they do not overlap. So this is also a recurrent question. Some other people have asked that question. So currently, no, like there is not magic things to say, oh, you know, do not have any overlap. But we can definitely give a try on some. So this is a complex problem, and it's not easy things. But we will, yeah. So we have a couple of ideas that we'd like to try out whether we can solve that problem. If you can interactively edit property of objects that are rendered, for example, click on items and change the value. So you can do like what Gundelf, this is what he's asking, and you can, you know, do pretty much what GT inspectors allows you to do it. So you are inspecting the object and change it. If you know you want to update the visualization, then you need to explicitly say it. So using using Data Studio, this is what we plan to have. Being able like to easily clicking and updating visualizations. Thanks, Graham MacLeod. Yes, so Data Studio is cool, and yeah, we are currently like pushing that hard. But again, this is something which is pretty complex. I mean, you know, what are the right interactions we need to have, we need to offer? This is something that it takes time to really understand which one is really worth pushing. But yes. Yeah, so Esteban like asking, what about like JavaScript? So I just showed that you can export JavaScript visualization in HTML5 with JavaScript. In the future, we are planning like to redo completely like the JavaScript exporting, because even though it works relatively well, but it's not really optimal. I mean, it can be improved in many ways. For example, if you want to add the new interactions in in the HTML, this is a bit, you need to play with JavaScript, and we would like to use something maybe like Ember or Pharo.js to export from Pharo to JavaScript, and then produce that visualization that uses the exported JavaScript code. Graham is asking whether there is any development of a network style layout that would position objects based upon dependencies. So, I mean, that would be interesting. So you can currently, like, we don't really have a ready-to-use solution for that. But definitely, I mean, this, you know, I have the impression that such a layout should not be that complex to have. So this is something that yeah, I would be happy to discuss further about that. So Abdelghani is asking like how to change the perspective of visualization. I don't really understand. What do you mean by perspective? Well, I mean, I'm. So Thibaut is asking whether I will provide this video afterwards so I can send it to the team. I will be happy to, but I'm not expert in YouTube options, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it should be. I think the video will stay online. No, it should. But yes. So Philip Bach, who is an expert, who is our local Google expert, so he will say that he will stay. So good. Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, and thanks to Philippe, thanks to Marcus, thanks to Esteban for having pushed me to participate in the Faro TED Talk. Okay, so bye bye.